The next step in troubleshooting the last reconciled balance and why it's changed is to run the retrospective bank reconciliation report again. So make sure your bank account selected that you're trying to reconcile. Go into Reports, select the folder for reconciled transactions, and then select the retrospective bank reconciliation report. It is just the standard report, not the detailed. So preview the report, and then in the criteria leave the first date set to the 1st of the 1st 1980. So that's a date that should be prior to any of your transactions in Sage accounts. So just leave it as the default. In the second date box, enter the date that you last reconciled up to. So in my example, the 30th of September 2014. Once you've done that, click OK, and the report should preview. Now it's a very small report in my example. It tells me at the bottom it's just one page. With yours it could be a very lengthy report because it's going to pick up and list all of the transactions posted to this bank account that have ever been reconciled. Now once you've got your report previewed, you need to scroll down to the end of the report and you should have a total, saying total amount of transactions reconciled in this period. Obviously because you've run it from 1980 up to the period you last reconciled, that should be everything on there. So this figure here is equivalent of the last reconciled balance when you go into the reconciliation window. So minus 558, and we know this figure's wrong. It's changed from what it should be. So what we need to do is scroll past our last reconciliation, so you can see I've got about 10 transactions there from my last reconciliation, and we need to scroll up to find the end of the previous reconciliation, which is this one here in my example, which is the list of transactions that were reconciled in August. So it's this balance here. I need to compare that, the 386, I need to compare it to the end balance on the relevant bank statement that I reconciled up to at the time. So compare that 386 to the closing balance on my August bank statement in this example. Does it agree? If it does agree, that's fine, we can stop at that point. If it doesn't agree, you then work up the report to the end of the next previous period. So in this case I would work up to my July transactions, just got one transaction there to make it nice and simple. So we'd compare that £1,500, does that agree with the balance or the closing balance on the July statement in this example? And you just keep working through this report until you find the point when it does agree. Now what you'll normally find is that you maybe need to go back one, possibly two periods. That's probably the most common. If someone's made a change in your account, it's probably going to be to a fairly recent transaction. So one, maybe two periods is about normal. But that's the point. Just keep working through that report till you find out when the relevant balance agrees. And in our example, we'll say this 386 agrees with that August closing balance on the statement.